Hello, this is Nick with Nick's Login Security. I recently acquired my first computerized key machine, and I went with the Maverick, the newest and more economical version from Lock Labs, the creator of the Trident and the Black Widow. So I've went through a couple of headaches with it, and I wanted to walk you through my own headache, so that way you don't have to, as there was no tutorials online when I bought this machine. As far as I know, as of right now, there still is none. You should be seeing the phone app pop up on screen right about now. And what it does is you control this through the phone app. This is not the more advanced one that has the touchscreen on top. So the things that come with this device, lift up my splatter shield, is you get the splatter shield, which you just saw me remove. It does come with a catch tray, so that way keeps your work area kind of clean. On the back here, you have a small thumb screw, which allows you to change out your jaws. This is jaw number 1. Jaw number 1 is for your automotive keys, high security and standard. These are attachments for one type of key. It also comes with attachments for another type of key, which I will demonstrate on another video. So, you're going to notice when you click on the app, it's fairly straightforward what it wants you to do. So you click on calibration first, and you actually have a couple of options. So the first thing you got to do is do your distance calibration with the jaw. So that requires these little jaw pieces. The lettering faces the operator who's standing over here. You. Hi, operator. It does come with this Honda high security key blank for your calibration reasons. On the jaw, you have lines 1 and lines 2. The fun part about the app is the extent of your manual. As you can tell, click OK. You put both cutters to a decoder, so you have the decoder pin here, and this cutter slot is actually a decoder. It does come with both decoders. It comes with a 2mm and a 1.5mm cutter. I broke my 1.5mm cutter already. So when it's going through this part, it's just going to touch things around and measure. Primarily, its goal is to measure the distance, or verify the distance between the two spindles. Now, the irony of this is that it actually doesn't tell you where to put that key blank on just step 1. You kind of have to guess. So when you're doing standard key, if you notice here on the app, that is the extent of the information it gives you. That tiny little image is everything you have to know about how to clear this for a standard key. And according to Lock Labs Tech Support, they recommend calibrating both and always start with the standard. Okay, calibration is successful. Now here comes the more interesting one, which I actually had more of a problem with. Laser key. There's your example. What I didn't realize in the beginning, get my splatter shield held up, and then you remove the key from these two jaws, take them off. They have a nice strong magnet to hold them in place. You look here. There is a shelf. Get you in here. Right here. And a shelf. And actually 2 shelves right here. Because the lower one actually is not a shelf as such as it is just a tongue and groove. So if you look here, you can see that tongue right here that goes into there. So what I was doing, sorry for my poor camera skills, is when I took the added jaws off, I was putting it here. And it was failing every time. Because apparently it's supposed to sit up here. And again, the picture on the app does not expand. It just is. And you have to look real closely at the picture on the app to realize it needs to be lined up with line number 2. Let me bring it back a little bit. Not get my couch in the frame, or my lovely assistant. There we go. And you click OK. So the catch with this one is just make sure that the jaw is clear of any debris from previous cuts. Make sure it's nice and flat. And there's a successful calibration. So I just wanted to point that out to you. That may have been obvious to some people. It was not obvious to me. Or the 3 other people who I video chatted with, and we were all looking through the same camera, and none of us could figure it out. Maybe we're all morons. Don't know. Thought I'd give you some help. All right, that's the end of this video. This is Nick with Nick's Lock and Security. Once again, we're back with the Maverick key machine. I wanted to show you when you calibrate it to a standard key, and then you want to do I'll use the term loosely, older car. In my case, it is an 04 Saturn View key, which requires the extra shoulder stops that I showed you in the first video. So these ones you have to use for the calibration reasons, and some of the I just push them like I push it together, close that part so that it centers those jaws. Once again, I'm just going to put this on here, line it up with line number 2. Then I go ahead and I close it. Then right over here on the app, I get calibration, jaw 1 or step 1, hit OK, and we calibrate. Okay, so we are back with the calibrated first step. Now we're going to hit standard key and recalibrate for the standard key, even though we're going to be changing the jaws out on this. Now I calibrate every time I turn the machine back on. I don't know if that's required. I just figure it's safer than not. Okay, now, as with the Triton or the Black Widow devices, over here on the phone app, which we'll zoom into now, you have different settings. So cars, motorcycles. Unlike the Triton and the Black Widow, the Maverick is designed to do standard tubular key and standard commercial residential tubular keys out of the box. You have all the software. The only thing you have to buy separately would be the jaws. As you can see on the calibration screen, you have single-sided jaw for regular keys, tubular for tubulars. So, kind of an advantage is for the $2,000 price tag of this machine that you actually get more on the software side than you do on the more expensive machines. So here, as I said before, we're going to be using a Saturn View key that I happen to have. So we're going to skim down the edge of the screen till we get to Saturn. It is a View. It is an 04, so it's 02 to 07. So you can see here it gives you your code series. It is a 10 cut, and you're gonna hit this bar right here. Okay, my phone's had to reconnect to my phone had to reconnect to my own home Wi-Fi. Had a problem there. Okay, sorry for that. What the phone does need to have cellular or Wi-Fi connection because it does need to pull the databases. So, unlike the calibration screen, this one actually shows you a little bit more. And if you notice here on the phone app, it actually wants those other jaws that I was showing you earlier on. So I'm going to loosen this up, take out the, take off the Honda, take out these two shoulder stops, jaws, adapters. If you look at the phone app, it shows you which side the right and left stay on the right and left, but at least you can zoom in, you can see the stuff. So it's kind of interesting with this one because it also shows where the yellow lines are on the app right here. You can see it wants to be the key to be lined up with line number 1, whereas on the calibration side we were lining it up with line number 2. So I just find it interesting that this particular key has a different style of jaw. And so you just kind of crimp it in. It's holding it from both sides. It's coming straight out. And I do recommend, after you have it tight, you think it's tight, crank it some more. I've had this flip out of the holder before. So close up the key, the splatter shield. Just tap the screen, it goes back, and you can click. So here you have input where you can tell it manually you want to cut what keys you want to cut into. In this case, all we're going to be doing is decoding the existing key. Let's see if we can get a slightly better viewing. The hard part about this is the hellish light. There we go. And then on the phone app, we just click the decode button. The built-in backlight makes a very good light so you know what you're doing. It, however, makes it really crappy for trying to do a video. Oh, I forgot to mention, there is a hole in the top of this jaw, actually designed for an extra set screw to put vertical pressure down on that key blade so it holds it straight. And voila, we now have a perfectly decoded key. So if you have a customer who has an older car, this will decode it, so that way you can make sure that, as this one did when I originally worked with this car, is you could start the car, pull the key right out, because the edges had all worn down. With a properly cut key, it no longer does that. Hello, this is Nick with Nick's Lock and Security. We're back now. I want to show you how to decode a high security key. So once again, back with the app, we need to recalibrate because I'm changing from one style key to another. Alright, so because we are doing a Ford high security key, this is actually for a customer's 2018 Ford Escape. So again, this time we're going to bring the jaws in, we're lining this key up on top of the plate. It's So if you remember my intro video, it's actually slightly raised above this surface, and you'll know it's properly aligned. Bring the splatter shield down. Not that it's required for calibration. I just like it for good practice. And then right here, you click on the laser key. Okay, calibration is successful. So, once again, we raise up the splatter shield, we remove the Honda key, we put in the customer's Ford key, and again, the question then becomes, do you align to the first line or the second line? By default, before I run the app, I usually just kind of pinch it right there at the first line. Then we can go to Home, Cars, Ford, Escape. This is a 2018. This is a 10 cut. And it does give you a little warning because there is other issues sometimes. And so again, we look at the alignment information. We can zoom in. We need to be at line number 1. Very good. So just make sure it's there. Make sure it's snug and tight. Bring down the splatter shield. See if I can adjust the angle for you a little bit. There we go. And once again, we are going to hit decode. And then decode again. And it does a slight calibration just to verify where things are. Known spots on the key. And voila, a properly decoded Ford Escape key.